Hey everyone, this is my reaction to the 12th and final episode of Death March Kara Hajimaru Isekai Kyousoukyoku. So, in the last episode, we find out some things about Sato, like how he decided to go to a tavern to get laid because, of course, it's not like he has a harem or anything around him that could solve that issue for him. No, not at all. And he's apparently got an interest in alchemy, trying making potions and stuff. Which, that's definitely good, because potions are finite. It's a pretty good if you can make your own, much more cost effective than buying them, of course. And that is kind of what the episode centered around potions, because he did find some people that were going to make a potions delivery because of an arrangement, but then we have people who were getting in the way of that arrangement, and now basically it comes down to Sato has to make not only potions, but the vials for the potions and potions to solve the issue. Anyway, let's get into it. 3, 2, 1, play. Or better. Which he'll have to make those as well. Yes, as quickly as possible. Yeah, like I said, he'll do it, don't worry. You can't say no to him and his harem that are like really all behind him. Good for you, but you'll be surprised how possible it is. Uh, yes, I would definitely trust them with vials. Mia, girl, a few words. Pochi. So, yeah. He may not use his harem for things that I would suggest using them for, but he does make good use of them in other ways, so... Sato does as Sato does. Manual labor is a viable use of them, I suppose. So, wonder what other problems may arise before he finishes the task. Because I doubt the bad guys are just gonna sit back and watch Sato do this. Nana. Close up. You pull the camera back a little bit. Not that far. This clay person. Well, you're all first timers at this, so I would imagine it would be. Hard to believe it was your first time. You did so well. But... well, that's too long. Can you try blowing on it? Using fire magic? No, he'll find a way. Don't you know who this guy is? Yeah, so we just gotta remove that, it's fine. I mean, this guy acts like Sato can't do everything, so... There you go. What better spell for drying clay, really? Chisatos, do not steal. So there we go. There's no problem that we can't work around. A lot of problems can be solved with magic, actually. Yeah, like that. As we have a musical montage of working. It's no time to to give up and wow Tama and Pochi. With them around, you could definitely keep on going. So things are going pretty well so far. But there's definitely more opportunities for sabotage. uh... Sure, why not? Puffbird. What do you think you're doing, guy speaking like a bad guy? No, of course not. Who's spreading those false allegations? Well, that really help? Yeah. I'm sure Sato could just make another one. But yeah, no surprises. Well, things were going well until a minute ago. You couldn't be looking that forward to it if you're doing stuff like this, but we already knew it was full of crap. I'll buy you another one, don't worry. Kind of a roller coaster of emotions for her. I'll take that as a yes. And that's why they came at that point. What, can you put them back together? Oh, that would explain that earlier scene. I think I underestimated his intelligence. That's definitely smart. Yeah, his natural inventory system. uh, all of the vials. Well... that's interesting. And that's a problem, but it's interesting. So is this the kind of the use we find for the item box? Yeah, I figured. We finally found a use for it. I knew they would pull something out. Because they wouldn't introduce the item box and not have a good use for it in the show, in the plot. I was just wondering what it would be. Here we go. Does item box only have 5 slots? Yes, the good old blow spell. A technique that I suggest any female mage learn. Yes, I hate those guys, so I would love for you to do so. Well, you didn't hear from a reliable source. Don't be that polite with him. That's right. You think you can stop him, but you think wrong. Yeah, get wrecked. There we go. That was what I was waiting for. That look. Yeah, you would know about any of those. They're all way outside your realm of understanding. He has much more of a poker face than he does, though. The audio seems desynced. Not a huge deal, but I just don't know if it's a problem with my computer or the video file. As long as somebody does it. So that is the Count himself. That was name dropped last episode. You know, the important guy. She actually came in person. She's adorable. Somebody's sweating. You know, not just me, because it's fairly hot in here, but... You tell him. Of course he's not gonna take this, lying down. I don't think this is anything he can't handle. Yeah, who do you think he is? I'll consider it. Here we go. And it's done. Well, couldn't let you hog all the glory. I'm the protagonist, you know? uh, I guess that's true as well. I mean, that's kind of most of his harem. But yeah, all joking aside, it wasn't to have a share of glory. It was just didn't want them to see such bloodshed. It could have been both. Who knows? I told you not to worry about it. You know, in this show, it's customary to give him a kiss as a gift, but I guess it's fine. Uh, Friend of the Witches. He's friends of a lot of races at this point. Very important shot of the horses there. They all need to say their piece on it. So that's whole situation resolved. Oh? Sure, no problem. Oh, yes, indeed. But not too fast. Is she gonna see the whole thing? Yep, there we go. And when you have that many... I mean, in such a situation, this sort of thing is expected to be a normal morning. Is what I was trying to get at. Of course not. Why would you jump to conclusions like that? Poker face is such an invaluable skill. Oof. I'll admit I was only about half paying attention to the subtitles because reasons, but... Yeah, but that's not as good, though. The audio desync is really bugging me, but... I guess that's fine. Way to ruin the fun. Of course she still has to make the sounds. Yeah, you need a suggested dialogue or it's just wouldn't work. If everybody gets their turn, they're gonna be here all day. Now she's spent. Zena, that's who I thought it was, but... I'm sure it involves Sato. Of course, who else would it be from? I don't know, I haven't looked at it yet. I should probably do that, huh? Has it? uh... Yeah, it's, don't read too much into it. It can't be that hard of a journey when you have such wonderful company. A wild one? Oh. Even though it's not meat? Uh, Interesting. Yeah, lick... Oh, I thought they were gonna lick it up. Sugar, Sato. Okay, now we get to licking. I knew we'd get it, it's just a matter of time. Because, obviously. My turn. No, rejected. Truly is always determined to get her turn. Yeah. As always, he just does not give it the program. There's a new world without you. Surely I kind of get the short end of the stick. Most people that like Satoru get to travel with him. Of course the story starts out that way. It is what it sounds like. Yeah, let's move on with the story. I assume this is exposition for the show itself, but really it's hot in here. No surprises there. Of course he did. How rude. Just one. Like so many heroes to this world, for instance. Think your story bored them to sleep. The moon. I mean, she's still enjoying that letter. Probably the best thing she's had for a while. One day I will join your harem. I don't care what I have to do. The horses. Gee, I wonder what it could be. Half your harem, perhaps? Maybe more than half? I know, right? The nerve. There really aren't very many ways that are better to wake up than that. So I need to apologize. Oh yeah, she has some self-esteem issues, doesn't she? Because people in the world are crazy and don't realize how cute she is. Especially when she lights up like that. Those things on her chest. What are those abominations? Those aren't allowed in this harem. I think you activated her. Yeah, one of you was busy enjoying some meat. So that was the 12th and final episode of Death March. And this episode, we of course continued off with the storyline of him making potions for the trade. For the, the arrangement between the witch and the count. And he enlisted his harem his harem is, what's the best way to phrase it? His harem of slaves to help him work on that. because they had to make the vials, they had to make the potions, and one of the problems they ended up with the vials is the fact that you had to wait a while for them to dry out for the moisture to leave, but it's nothing a little bit of magic can't solve, so that issue was quickly dealt with, and they were able to make enough. Even though it was their first time, the girls did really well. And they were able to make a bunch, and then bad guy shows up, and pretty much kind of bringing back up the whole idea of there's some strict regulations on the whole potion making and everything. So that's kind of what their excuse for just breaking them all was. But Sato's a smart man. He kept the potions secretly in his inventory, and just had like broken ones in the kiln or whatever. And which obviously was shown off because we saw the one guy holding a broken piece like in a scene before that, so I guess that's was supposed to foreshadow that. Anyway, that caused the bad guys to think they had won, that the arrangement would not work, but it did, and the look on their face was great because they did not see that coming. But it did go through, and needless to say, the guy was really butthurt about that, but there wasn't much he could do. Even the Count showed up himself in person and the witch, and he got wrecked, I think is the best way to put it. Which, yeah, very satisfying. He didn't get killed, which the Count was going to do, but Sato kind of intervened because, the children are watching. Let's keep this family friendly. Speaking of family friendly, we had a scene where Sato was calibrating Nana's system, or something like that, which I think it was Arisa that walked in on and thought they were doing something inappropriate, but no, it was just serious stuff that needed to be dealt with, of course. Just no need to jump to conclusions. And yeah, of course, I guess it didn't have to be done by the front. You could do it to the back, but why would you, really? Unless you have a jealous harem yelling at you. There's no real reason to do that. But yes, that whole plot point was resolved. Kind of ended off with, a bit more traveling. You had Sato send Zena a letter, which she was really happy to receive, like a Christmas present almost. And she read it, she pretty much took the letter like the best possible way she could, very optimistic sort of way. Even though it was pretty much a standard letter, to a friend. But, she's determined to join the group, to join the harem, one way or the other. We'll probably get that at some point in the future. Well, not in the anime, because the anime's over, but I'm sure the light novel. But anyway, yeah, then we ended off things with just kind of story time. Pochi wanted a story, and he read it to her. And I think the point of that story was to just kind of explain a bit of the origin of summoning heroes to that world. I think that was the point of that. He's talking about the goddesses and the gods and all the arguing and stuff. Like the demon gods being unpleasant, which they usually are. And that was pretty much how we ended off the episode. Even though it was the final episode of the series, it really didn't feel like a final episode, like it barely did, but if I didn't already know how many episodes this was because of MyAnimeLIst, I wouldn't have been able to guess this was the final episode. But because I knew that, I was able to kind of read into it a little bit that I guess this is kind of the final episode. But this is a light novel adaptation, and the biggest problem with those is the fact that light novel, you're never going to get the whole light novel in an anime adaptation unless it's super ridiculously rushed, which is not a good idea. Even though sometimes you do get anime that do try that, like one volume in 1 or 2 episodes, and it doesn't work really. Usually you want to have 1 volume, 4 episodes. It's kind of a more or less a sweet spot usually. So, my thoughts on the series as a whole. For the most part, this was kind of a standard isekai anime. Of course, I like the idea that the protagonist was a video game programmer because I like video games and programming, even if I've never really had the patience to learn a decent amount of programming and actually do anything with it. But it's a subject I'm interested in, so it was something that got me to be more attached to the protagonist. And the fact that the protagonist is like, what I want to say, middle-aged. He's an older protagonist. So that's obviously something a little bit different in the series. Although that was a little bit counteracted by the fact that he reverted in age when he went into the world, but he still had that mentality of the adult, so it still played a factor, and it's not like it was invalidated or anything. It just, from everybody else's perspective, he's a younger man, the standard protagonist, harem protagonist age. And we went into the world, and another big thing that really sets this anime apart from isekai, most isekai anime, is the lolly aspect. There was no shortage of lollies. There were plenty of them. We got Pochi, we got Tama, Arisa is a little bit older than the others, but still in that kind of in that lolly range. Mia definitely lolly. Who else did we have? The Dryads, I guess, were kind of lolly-ish. They're close enough. It's always, people always like to debate what counts as lolly and what doesn't, but of course we had some that weren't lolly, they were a little bit older, like Lulu, Lisa, Nana, of course, although she was kind of later in the series. But yes, it was definitely a lolly theme. Of course, because there's so many lollies, naturally what you usually do in this situation is you have the protagonist not be a lolicon. That's usually kind of what they do. I think there was some other anime that did something similar with that. What was it called? Oda Nobunaga no Yabo, something like that. I think there was another anime with a decent amount of lollies, but a protagonist that wasn't really into lollies. I think they did kind of something similar. But yeah, that's usually what they do when they have a lot of lollies. They have a protagonist not really into them. Anyway, this anime does have a case of having a very overpowered protagonist, but the series itself isn't really super combat focused, so that didn't really, it wasn't really as much of an issue as it might have been in something like the smartphone anime, because it really was more of a slice of life series, him making a life for himself in this new world, coming up with his backstory of being a merchant slash slave owner. But I did like it was the amount of slaves kept going up. Like there was a time in the series where we didn't have any at all, and now he has like what, 25? Might be a bit of an exaggeration, but he has a lot of them. That's the idea. Another thing that makes it interesting is the fact that to him this is very much a video game world. He has an inventory system, which nobody else has. The most they can hope for is that one item box. So, and everything is like a game to him. He sees like certain pop-ups and stuff like nobody else sees. Like you kept getting pop-ups, like new titles that he got, and all sorts of cool stuff. And like that's always been a kind of a fun running thing in the series. Just he gets new titles. The friend of the L was the friend of the other stuff, the friend of the witches or whatever that last one was. And yeah, Sato keeps making new friends, new harem members, and I always kind of like that thing where he was like, "Oh, I need to do something. Where's that skill tree? Okay, point. Okay, I got 10 points in that now. I can do it. Good job. Let me at it." You know, I was always that would just be a cool thing to have in life. You're having difficulty with something. It's like, I guess I could just put some points into this. I have plenty to spare, and then you're good at it. That would make life a lot easier, to say the least, if you could actually spec your tree like that, as opposed to just going to a university for several years, this would be far more efficient. But yeah, the plot of the anime is really nothing to write home about. It's all pretty standard for the most part. But the characters, some pretty great characters. You have Pochi and Tama, which are always very fun, very cute characters. Pochi especially is she's always fun. She's just always excitable like a like a little dog, like she very much is. You have Zena, who I think was one of the first girls he met. Like he saved her in a fight or something, but she didn't actually like join his party or anything really. She just she was kind of there, and she obviously was voiced by one of my favorite voice actresses, which is one of the things that made me like her more. Let's see, you had Arisa and Lulu, which came by. Arisa, obviously another one of my favorite voice actresses voicing her, so that's good too. And she was always a very fun character, and she obviously introduced some world building to Sato about how, because she was reincarnated, so not quite the same thing that Sato had, but still she's not really from this world like most of the other people are, so she does relate to him on that level, because she knows Japanese. That's how Sato was able to discover that she wasn't from around here, is that she actually pronounced his name properly, not Satu. Lulu is just she was kind of there. She didn't really get a huge amount of screen time, really. I mean, she was cute, don't get me wrong, but there wasn't a huge amount to her character, really, beyond that. Lisa, I mean, I could take or leave Lisa. She's never really appealed to me that much. No, the lizard girl. In any case, this was a pretty fun, enjoyable series. Obviously not the most original concept or anything imaginable, but I think it was executed, fairly well. It had enough unique aspects to it to differentiate itself a little bit from some of the standard ones, some of the more cliche ones. And obviously the enjoyment factor went up for me because of the lollies, of course. And, I do enjoy Isekai anime, for the most part. I even watched Smartphone, despite the fact that one was very much very cliche, like definitely more cliche and generic than this show. It just really, only thing really had was that smartphone gimmick, which, that was whatever. But, I would like that smartphone, but, anyway. Yes, for me, the series was a solid 8 out of 10. It's a light novel adaptation, so one of the biggest drawbacks of those is always going to be like, I feel like I only got a small slice of a pie. I can only speculate about all the many things that happen down the line. And the only way I'll ever find out about that is to read it, which, then if you choose to do that, then you have to get used to no longer having the voices with the characters or anything, and just having to be a very different experience. So yeah, because I remember I tried to read the Konosuba light novel because I really love that anime, but it wasn't the same without the voice acting and everything. It did not feel like Konosuba to me. That's kind of one of the things I have about light novels. But anyway, I'm kind of rambling, so yes, good stuff, pretty for the most part. Thank you for watching, and thank you Cnouki, the Dragon of Oshu, as well as everyone else, for doing what you can to support the channel. It means a lot to me, and I hope we can continue to grow the channel together. If you want to do more to support the channel, then you can become a patron on my Patreon and get cool rewards like early access to certain videos. Have a good one.